D tackle of the New York Jets. So that is our ballers of the week. Now we're going to the waiver wire targets where, like we mentioned, John, very high hit rate. So, John, the floor is yours. Who you got for week 5 waiver wire additions?
All right, the week 5 waiver additions, like we talked about earlier, every week so far we've had guys that have been balling out that next week after you get them. And I think this week's going to be no different. This week I think is especially notable because we had 2 starting running backs get hurt, will miss time, and that was Joe Mixon and David Montgomery. But we'll get into that in a little bit. First off, once again, due to injury, Trey Lance, he's going to be the quarterback of the week off the waiver wire. With Mr. Jimmy Garoppolo missing time, Trey Lance is going to be the guy there. He's going to be the starter. And I think that they're going to put him, specifically Kyle Shanahan is going to put him in a lot of positions to be successful. Unlike what we saw out of Matt Nagy in the Bears offense when Justin Fields made his first start, I think Shanahan's going to want to make sure that he puts him in every position to win. And also, once again, in fantasy, running quarterbacks are money. So if you're in desperate need of a QB or you're in a really deep league or you're in a dynasty league and you draft this guy to eventually be your starting quarterback, you're happy that Trey Lance looks like he's going to be the guy, at least this week. To start off the running backs, Damien Williams, Chicago Bears backup. We've seen what he did over the years in Kansas City. He did pretty solid this week in the absence of David Montgomery. And so Damien Williams, he's a key pickup. Instantly should be a starter if you do get him. Next, because of Joe Mixon's injury, Samaje Perine from the Bengals. Looks like he's probably going to be the guy on most of the running downs. I think he'll get a little bit of the workload in the passing game, but for the most part, I think his value comes when they run the ball. And Joe Mixon gets a pretty heavy workload throughout the year, so I don't think Samaje Perine is going to get any different. So look to pick him up. The next one, Brandon Bolden, running back for the Patriots. It looks like in this game he started to fill the James White role against the Buccaneers. This game is a little different because, as we talked about, they completely abandoned the run. So normally Damian Harris is going to get more involved when it comes to running the ball. So that might leave some opportunities not fully there for Brandon Bolden. But if you're in a deeper league, he's a great option, especially if it's PPR, because it seems like he'll probably be the go-to guy in the receiving game for the Patriots backfield. Start off wide receivers. If you haven't already picked up this guy, it's a little late, but he's still available in over 50% of leagues. It's Darnell Mooney. Justin Fields has made this guy his favorite target. He's balling out. He had 125 yards on 5 catches this week. He's just doing really well. And I think that, it should be expected. And I think it should continue as well because he's a talented guy. It's really him and Allen Robinson. The tight ends haven't really popped. Marquise Goodwin and the other receivers behind these 2 guys haven't really popped. So Darnell Mooney, he's a great player, and I think he's a starting caliber flex option in most leagues. Next, your guy, Kedarius Tony. He was a little upset the first few weeks about his role. He finally got involved this week, and he had a good game. And I don't expect that to change. Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton are both still dealing with injuries, and I think Kedarius Tony showed that he can be a versatile weapon for this offense. And so I expect his role to not really decrease. I mean, when those guys come back from injury, you could see some changes, but I still think that he's worth rostering and at least keeping on your bench because of the talent that he does have. Next wide receiver, your boy, Randall Cobb for the Packers. We just saw Aaron Rodgers likes the guy. He's not going to be a weekly starter, but he's worth putting on your team because if Aaron Rodgers and he start to really, continue that chemistry, especially once we get into the red zone, it's important to have a guy like him who could get you some touchdowns if you have a bye week or some injuries. AJ Brown's injured. A few different receivers are getting injured already this year.
And
Randall Cobb.
I just want to throw in 2 for Randall Cobb. And John mentioned bye week start next week. Marquez Valdez-Scantling out. I think he's on IR. We put him on IR last week, so he's out for at least 2 more weeks. So, yeah, Randall should get more snaps and or opportunities per se. So, as a Packer fan, I just want to add on to that. So, he could, especially for the next 2 weeks, be a good addition for a fill-in.
Yeah, absolutely. The next wide receiver, this is a rookie who there's a little bit of mystery behind here, so take this with a grain of salt because maybe it doesn't turn into anything. That's Rashad Bateman for the Ravens. He was a first-round pick. Hollywood Brown has looked solid so far, but outside of that, not really a whole lot of consistency from anybody else. And I think that because he was a first round pick, they invested that draft capital into him. Once he's fully off IR, they're going to want to get him involved. So I'd say he's worth putting on your bench if you have the slot, just to see what happens the first few weeks that he's fully back. And the last one, and this one, he's a proven guy, is Curtis Samuel for the Washington football team. Top 25 fantasy receiver last year. Has a lot of experience with Ron Rivera. I don't expect him to have the same level of production he did last year, because last year he wasn't in the Joe Brady offense, who I'm a big believer in, but he's still valuable. No other receiver behind Terry McLaurin has really won the job or really, blew up and, shown that they should be heavily involved in this passing attack. And Logan Thomas did just get hurt. I'm not sure how much time he's going to miss, but I think that allows Curtis Samuel to easily come in, be the number 2 guy in this passing attack. And it's desperately needed for Washington because it's really just Terry McLaurin and then J.D. McKissick is, your next best guy. So Curtis Samuel, solid option if he's available out there. And then at tight end, I didn't think I'd be ever really saying this throughout the year because I figured Blake Jarwin might, become the starter there. But Dalton Schultz for my Dallas Cowboys, he's become a solid option so far. I wouldn't rely on him to be a tight end 1 throughout the year, like I know somebody in my league is already potentially doing. They have George Kittle, and they're looking like they're going to try and trade him because they have Schultz. But he's solid. He's in a high-scoring offense. He's getting involved in the red zone. I think that's really what you're looking for if you're, streaming tight ends, or you don't have one of the elite guys. So if you're tight end needy, Dalton Schultz, he's a solid option, especially if you're a Logan Thomas owner and he did get hurt. Dalton Schultz, pick him up as a tight end. So those are the week 5 waivers. As we said, the last few weeks, we've, hit on some guys like Sam Darnold last week, Chuba Hubbard, Dawson Knox, even the week before, Derek Carr, Cordero Patterson, Daniel Jones has been solid. So pick up a few of these guys. A few of them could boom and become some solid options for at least the next few weeks, but even potentially long-term on the season.
All righty. So that is the waiver wire additions or targets for week 5. And yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for us. So I'm going to leave it there because I am starving. So yeah, we'll be back next time with the week 5 picks against the spread. And also John starts sits later in the week. Once again, though, if you feel free to show us some support. You can hit us up on Instagram, which thank God it is back. In case you didn't miss the little shutdown yesterday, which conveniently came back. Luckily, like an hour before you're going to make a post, so thank God it did. But that's at Shut Up and Ball Pod is our handle there. And then Twitter and TikTok are at Shut Up and Ball in case Facebook and Instagram are down again for some reason. But if they're not, our Facebook also page is just Shut Up and Ball. And once again, YouTube also Shut Up and Ball. But yeah, you can feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and just give us feedback. Positive, negative, as long as it's constructive. We will take it into account and probably share it on the pod. But other than that, hope everyone enjoys your week, and we'll see you later. Bye.